Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at a probability question, but specifically probability when it comes to area as our content there. So this problem is coming from Math 2, so CPM Integrated Math 2, and this is section 7.1.2.1, specifically number 7-72. So let's read it and we'll go from there. So it says, Kendrick is frantic. He remembers that several years ago he buried his amazing electron ring in his little sister's sandbox, but he cannot remember where. A few minutes ago he heard that someone is willing to pay $1,000 for it. He has his shovel and is ready to dig. Okay, so the sandbox is a rectangle, or is rectangular, measuring 4 by 5 feet. Right. So here's my sandbox, 4 by 5 feet. So that's the whole sandbox. It says if Kendrick only has time to search in a 2-foot square shaded region, what is the probability that I'll find the ring? So probability. So remember, probability, I'm going to write this over here. Probability is always a comparison. It's always a ratio, right? That you can put things in percentages and such as well. But started off as a ratio as what you want over how much total, right? It's the desired, I'll write it this way, desired outcome. Let me rewrite that so we can read that. Desired outcome over the total possible outcomes, right? So that's our probability ratio. So if I think about what I have, my desired outcome is the 2-foot. That's all he can do. He can only search in that 2-foot by 2-foot square, but the total possible is the entire rectangle, right? So we talk about area because it's the probability where he'll find the ring in this area. So for this case, we would say that the probability is equal to, well, area of the shaded region is 2 by 2, so it's 2 times 2, which is 4, over the area of the entire rectangle, which is a 5 by 4, so it's 20. So we can simplify that, top and bottom by 4, divide by the giant one of 4 over 4, and you get a probability of 1/5. So that's the probability for A, that he'll find it in that shaded area. Okay. So it asks, what is the probability that he won't find it? Explain how you found your answer. Well, we know that probability of an event, right, always totals 1, right, of the whole event. Probability of a whole event is always 1. So the probability of finding it if you dug the entire area would be 20 over 20, which is 1, right? So if I want the probability of him not finding it, well, we found that the probability of finding it is 1/5. So of not finding it would be, so we'll say probability of not, in this case, will be 1 minus 1/5. We the rest of it. We don't have to find the area of all this. We can just take 1 minus 1/5. So that's 5/5 minus 1/5, which is 4/5. So the probability of not finding it would be 4/5. Last one, it says Kendra decides instead to dig in the square region shaded to the right. So now this is the square region that Kendrick's going to dig. Does this improve his chances for finding the ring? Why or why not? Well, hasn't changed the area of the location, the square. The probability is still, in this case, 4 out of 20 because it's still, the area of that square is still 4 feet. Even though it's moved and turned, it's still a 2 by 2. And the total area is still 5 by 4, which is still 20. So probability has not changed. Okay, so it hasn't improved. No improvement. And why not? So no improvement because the areas remain the same. Okay. All right, there you go.